Welcome everybody to another episode of the CD Sport Podcast with me, Kerry Davis. Joining us today is ultra endurance athlete, author, and the founder of the 401 Foundation, Mr. Ben Smith. How are you, Ben?
I'm very good, Kerry. You?
Very good, mate. Thank you for coming on and giving up some time to speak to me. I know you're a busy man.
You're totally welcome, mate. Thanks for having us.
No, it's good. Looking up on what you've done in the past. Back in 2015, you did 401 marathons in 401 days. And now you're preparing this summer to do the USA Challenge. Do you want to explain to the listeners what that is?
Yeah, well, for those that didn't know what the 401 Challenge was, I decided, to run 401 marathons in 401 days all around the UK. And it was to raise £250,000 for two anti-bullying charities because I myself was bullied quite badly as a kid, and that had a huge effect on my confidence and self-esteem and my mental health that affected me right the way through my life. I found running quite late on in life, and it kind of gave me this ability to, confront what had happened to me, gave me my confidence back, my self-esteem back. I met some amazing people, and it, allowed me to do this amazing feat. Over the past 5 years, we've been building a charity, a mental health charity. And as you said, this summer, I'm off to the US to run and cycle just over 11,500 miles across all 50 states in 88 days. And this time it's to raise £104,000 to help us build the world's first mental wellbeing app that will help connect people to local community initiatives to help them manage, maintain and treat their own mental health. So yeah, quite an important cause and something we're extremely passionate about.
Brilliant, yeah. And so how's training going for that at the minute? How long have you been in training?
I've been in training for probably about 2.5 years because, this project was actually supposed to happen about, I'd probably say about a year and a half ago. But obviously, the big C, we won't talk about it. That came along and scuppered everyone's plans. The project now looks very different to what it did before because of financial funding and things like that. But we've made it through. It's possible. It's happening. The 14th of June. I start in Augusta in Maine, and then 88 days later I end up in Honolulu in Hawaii. But yeah, the training's going really well. I've got a coach in America who's helping me kind of plan all of that and helping me with my kind of work-life training balance. But yeah, training's getting up to about 30 hours a week, which is quite brutal at the moment. I don't know if this is video recorded, but you probably see the bike in the back. So
how do you train for something like that? Because the plan is, like you said, it's 50 states in America. You're going to run a marathon in each state and then cycle the rest. So obviously some states are massive, aren't they, as well, but each state you're going to do a marathon, get on the bike. How are you going to do it? Is it like as soon as you get into the next state, you're going to get off the bike and run, or is there certain parts you plan to run?
Yeah, you're right. It's a huge logistical feat, and it's one of the, dare I say, it's probably the more interesting part. The logistical planning of it. I'm a bit of a geek like that. I love all that type of stuff. Bit of a spreadsheet geek. It's all mapped out. But we were going to be running a marathon in every state, but just before Christmas, we found out, unfortunately, that we weren't able to apply for the extended stay visa. The B2 visa that we wanted to go on. We were able to apply for it, but they wouldn't interview us until September this year, which basically meant that we had to then try and fit it into a 90-day ESTA period. Thankfully, we've applied for the ESTA, that's been granted, which is all amazing, but it has meant that we've had to kind of cut down the number of marathons that I'm going to be doing. But we are still visiting all 50 states. So it'll be 40 marathons in 40 of the states, cycling through all 50. But the marathons will be run in the state capitals, and they'll be run at kind of either educational establishments like high schools or the local university. They'll be run around a running track, so 106 times around the running track means that we can have a base. But yeah, the way it works is that I cycle between the state capitals. And once I get to the venue, I run the marathon, and if I've still got time at the end of the day, I get back on the bike and I carry on cycling.
And you plod on.
It's 11,500 miles. It's 134 plus miles on average a day. It's brutal. And as you've already picked up, the terrain, the different types of states there are, the different weather systems, unfortunately, we are in the south when the tornadoes and hurricanes hit, and we are in the northwest when the wildfires are in place. So could get a bit dicey.
Like you said, like, I can imagine going through places like Texas and New Mexico. It'd be like, how hot would it be over there that time of year? Obviously a peak summer as well.
It's the peak of summer. So, you could be looking at temperatures up to, 45, 50 degrees. Obviously there's, the day-to-day planning, which we're currently in the process of doing. We've near enough done it, but we're risk assessing everything. We're looking at different ways that we can kind of manage my hydration, manage my diet, manage my eating. What the project being a solo project, I was due to go out with a team, but because of the big C, we couldn't afford to take the team with us. So it has meant that I'm now going out my own, which then in turn brings a whole other heap of logistical challenges on top of that.
Yeah.
But safety is, that's the main concern at the end of the day. That's the main priority. I don't want to, injure myself. I don't want to, hurt myself. I don't want to, die. That's not the point here. The point's to raise £4,000. Yeah, it's got an element of danger to it. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, and like doing that now, like you said, if you got time, you're going to push on and do a bit more. And so what about like sleeping arrangements? What are you doing for sleeping? You just doing hotels, camping, or what?
Yeah, so we were looking at a lot of different options, and I think from a mental health point of view and also from a recovery point of view, I think personally I wanted to shower on a bed at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And also from a safety point of view as well, camping on your own in the wilderness, is all great. It's brilliant. It's lovely. But what, at the end of the day, running or cycling 134 miles, you want somewhere to kind of just sit and have a bath maybe, or just, not stink. So we've decided that we're looking at motels and places like that. And we're not talking, 5-star motels. We're talking, like your Bates motel. We're talking, some of them that we've looked at are pretty dodge, to be honest with you, but they're what we can afford, and it's on the course, and it's just a bed for the night, and that's what it is. So
brilliant. And I picked up what you said earlier on as well, which I didn't even think, like you have to go to Hawaii as well, would you?
Yeah,
I forgot that's part of the US. I'm just thinking of the old.
Well, we've got Alaska and Hawaii as well. So.
And Alaska.
They're just there are logistical challenges kind of in their own right. And when we were initially looking at planning the project within the 120 days, which was what it was going to be before, we were looking at ways of getting to kind of Juneau in Alaska, and you can't actually get there other than by air or by sea. There is no road to it. It's completely cut off. So we were looking at potentially being on the boat and cycling on the boat and getting there, running the marathon and cycling back on the boat.
Back on the boat,
but we can't do that. So we're actually flying. I'll be with Juneau. It's we arrive into Seattle Tacoma, which is just south of Seattle and just north of kind of Lacey or Olympia, basically the state capital of Washington. And we fly out in the afternoon to Hawaii, arrive in Hawaii, spend the night, into Juneau in Alaska, arrive there, stay overnight, in the morning run the marathon, and then get on the plane and fly back in the afternoon and cycle down to Olympia. So it's quite a quick kind of turnaround. So there's no real time or downtime really. No. And then the final couple of days in the States, because we've obviously only got 90 days there, we've got a day either side to kind of leave and arrive. We arrive in Hawaii. I run the marathon and get straight on a plane and fly home. So
you go straight back from Hawaii back to the UK.
Fair enough. Yeah, wow. I believe it's the following day. We're going to try and plan it a little bit better, but at the end of the day, the priority is to get the whole thing done.
Yeah, completely.
And to make sure that we leave within the 90 days, because the last thing we want to do is overstay our visa. So.
No, but don't worry, I know all about that, but we won't get into that anyway. That's what I wanted to. Obviously, like your last challenge when you did the 4-1 challenge, you brought a lot of people heard about it. You were on like ITV News and stuff, and stuff like that. I saw on YouTube.
Yeah, there was a lot of press coverage, which was amazing. And we ran in every community of the UK. We ran within 8 miles of every single location on the British mainland, and it was about 13,500 people, including a shed load of people in the valleys, in Pontypridd and Merthyr Tydfil, and, you know, places like that where we all ran. You know, it was amazing how supportive the British community was, and still is. You know, we have followers and supporters from all around the UK and around the world. You know, our American supporters are growing, and I'm sure they'll grow even bigger when we kind of go out to the US. But, you know, our main focus now is on raising the capital that we need to build this wellness app, because this will be the core of our kind of mental health foundation going forward, which, as I'm sure you and your listeners will completely understand, you know, mental health is of paramount importance to every single one of us right now, especially with what the last couple of years has been like.
Oh, of course, yeah. And it is a big thing. I always think, like, you know, like one of the worst things you can do, like I'm moving to Australia now, end of April, with my partner.
Oh, amazing.
But I was thinking that the rule doesn't count now, but I was thinking, have you heard the rules in Australia? You have to go into a 2-week hotel quarantine.
I believe that there are in certain countries still the quarantines. Yeah, there isn't so much with America at the moment, but, you know, I'm touching wood because you never know what it is going to be like come summer. So
I was just thinking, like, if I had to do that on my own for 14 days, and some of the rooms are like not very good, you know, that is like, my head would be all over the shop, you know. And my mental health, I'd like to think it's pretty good. You know, I do exercise a lot. I find like getting out and, like yourself, go for a run or lift some weight, or, you know, go to Brazilian jiu-jitsu training or anything like that. I'm always on a high afterwards, you know, but like being locked in like a room for 14 days, that's not good, is it? Do you know what I mean?
No, and obviously there's a lot of people that will be listening to this podcast that have had to self-isolate and have had to kind of, you know, shield. You know, my mum is one of those. You know, she shielded with my dad for a good 18 months of the pandemic, and you know, that had an effect on her. And, you know, it had an effect on the family, and there is so much kind of residual effect to what's gone on over the past 18 months. People's behaviors have changed, people's attitudes towards things have changed, people's expectations of things have changed. But also there's a lot of positivity that I think has come out of the past 2 years, and that has been in the form that there's a lot more understanding around how people feel. Whether or not that we can move that forward in a positive way, I hope so. And I hope we can, you know, make the conversation stronger. But, you know, things like this, chatting to you is a good step forward.
Brilliant, yeah, and I enjoy chatting to you as well, Ben. And that's why I was going on about the media early on. That's what I want to say. Have you got like any like Netflix or BBC or anyone going to like follow you? Because I reckon that'd be like a cool documentary as well, you know?
Well, we had conversations with a few people prior to the Big C, but obviously that, you know, changed a lot. We were going to be taking a team out with us, and part of that team was somebody that was going to be able to create content that we could then kind of hand back to maybe a big documentary, you know, filmmaker. But, you know, at the end of the day, I don't think that's going to be a possibility now.
No.
But then, to be honest with you, that's not really my priority.
No.
My priority is to get out there, get it done. We will be creating daily content, and we are looking at different ways in which to kind of do that using apps and camera equipment, you know, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to what I can feasibly do. And
of course.
At the end of the day, after 134 miles a day on a bike and running, I hope it's going to be a lot, but I tell you, some of the content's probably going to be a bit suspect.
No, I can imagine, like, it's the last thing you want to be doing is uploading stuff, and all, you just, you know, you have a mistake when you, but no, it's good. So rewind the clock back a bit, Ben. Like you were saying before, you were bullied and stuff as when you were younger and stuff. Is that so? Like before you did like the 4-1 challenge and all that, was that like the main reason you wanted to start running and stuff? Like what made you? Because, you know, not many people say, "All right, I'm going to run 401 marathons in 401 days," or "I'm not going to run across America."
No, let's be honest. Nobody says that, do they?
No one said it. Like,
you know, people might be sat listening, thinking this guy's nuts.
What like
I suppose
that, you know?
Yeah. In a little way, I am, but I think, you know, it was more of a journey really that kind of got me into doing what I'm doing, and I think, you know, the first 10 years of my life were amazing. I grew up in a very supportive family. We were a military family, so we moved around quite a lot. And then at the age of 10, I went away to school here in the UK. My parents were abroad. And, you know, I was kind of immersed in a culture that was very, very different to, I suppose, anything that I'd ever really kind of come across. You know, a lot of the kids I went to school with, they cared more about, you know, the types of cars that they mums and dads had and the jobs that they had, the places they went. It was all very materialistic, and I'd never really been brought up like that. And, you know, when you're kind of being told that the way you think and who you are and the way you behave is wrong, you start to believe it after a while, because you've got nobody else telling you on the other side that actually who you are is fine and you can be that. So that started, you know, my confidence dropping and my self-esteem dropping. And, you know, I was bullied for being a bit different. I was shy and a bit reclusive, and, you know, and I suppose a bit of an easy target, shall we say. But then at 13, I actually realized that I was gay. And then, you know, the kids kind of picked up on that. It was something else that was different. And I was told that I couldn't be who I wanted, who I was, you know, something I didn't have a choice about. So I just covered it up. And that then unfortunately led to about, well, the next kind of 5 years of my life just being tormented. I tried to take my life when I was 18. And that kind of sent me into a spiral of depression. I then tried again at university. And I suppose, you know, I spent most of my life just doing stuff for other people. And it wasn't until I was 29 when I was sat at work in a job that I hated, a job that I didn't want to do, but felt I had to do. I was married to a woman, you know, I had a very good job, you know, on paper, everything was, you know, I was successful. And I was sat there and I was looking at my computer screen, and literally, you know, you could click your fingers and I lost my sight. I lost my hearing. I lost the feeling in my left arm. I lost the ability to talk. And the local hospital here in Bristol, where I live now, you know, they initially diagnosed me with having had a stroke, you know, and that was at 29 years old. 29. And I'm sat there thinking, nah, you got this wrong. You know, strokes happen to people that are unhealthy or smokers or drinkers or work too hard or are stressed. And this is how disillusioned I was with my life, because at 29, I was 17 and a half stone. I was a 40-a-day smoker. I drank myself under the table every day. I was depressed like hell in a relationship I shouldn't have been in, stressed out, working 80, 90 hours a week in a job that I didn't want to do to try and achieve a life that I thought I should. And of course I, you know, had this episode. And it was that made me realize that something had to change. But it's not like the movies. You don't just suddenly have all the answers. They don't just suddenly appear. You then have this whole period of being frustrated and angry, and, you know, I felt so lost because it couldn't unconditionalize the way I've been behaving for all these years overnight, but I wanted to. But, you know, I made a choice. I came out, you know, I ended the relationship I was in. I started to live, you know, an independent life as a gay man at the age of 30, which again, you know, was terrifying because I didn't know who I was or what I wanted. But slowly but surely, it was about a year afterwards, a friend of mine introduced me to running, which, you know, between you and me, as a 40-a-day smoker, I was the guy that used to drive past runners with a fag hanging out the car window thinking they're a bunch of weirdos. Yeah. You know, so to anybody even suggesting that to me, it just seemed like complete madness. But I went, and I don't know, just something clicked. And it was weird. Over a period of a year to 2 years, I just found myself. That's the only way I can describe it. And it was the community, it was the support, it was the lack of judgment. It was, you know, nobody cared. All they wanted to do was support me. And, you know, that allowed me to talk about, you know, what had happened to me in the past and deal with that. And it was after that, coming out of the final counselling session that I'd had, I went, do you know what, I'm going to go and do something that, you know, I'm going to take my past and I'm going to use it for good. I didn't know what that looked like, but, you know, over the next couple of years, that turned into what we now know as the 401 Challenge.
Wow. So. That's a really inspiring story.
Yeah.
So, like, the stroke thing, obviously, have you got any issues with that now at all?
No, just some certain recall issues. You know, thankfully, the stroke was downgraded to what they call a TIA, a transient ischemic attack. I was one of the lucky ones, but, you know, it was so scary because you know, at 29, you feel invincible. You know, you think, oh, nothing's ever going to happen to me. You know, I can carry on working 90 hours a week. I can, you know, you almost kind of kid yourself that you don't have to have, and excuse my French, but your shit together. You know, and for me, I've forgotten who I was. You know, thankfully now I can sit here talking to you and I can tell you genuinely and quite congruently that I'm the happiest I've ever been.
Yeah,
you know,
you can see that in your personality as well.
You know, I do something that I'm incredibly passionate about. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a multi-millionaire. I don't earn shed tons of money from it. In fact, we scrape around trying to find the mortgage payment every single month. But the difference between now and 10 years ago is the fact that I'm doing something that I want to do, living the life that I want to lead. And that's where the power comes from. And I really hope if anybody ever takes anything from any of this, is that's the key to life. That's the key to happiness.
No, it is. It's not about chasing the money, is it? Like before, if you say you die or you have an episode and it's like, oh my God, I've worked all these times with a job I hate. And like, you're in this situation now and you're like, what have I done in my life? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you say, you don't have to go and run 401 marathons in 401 days. You don't have to run, but do stuff you want to do, do stuff you enjoy. But
I was going to say, if anybody does want to go and run 402 marathons, for instance, give me a call, because at least then somebody will understand what it feels like.
I did. Have you heard of? I did a podcast a couple of weeks back with a guy called Gary McKee. Have you heard of him from the Lake District?
No, I haven't heard of him. I'm embarrassed to say I haven't.
He's literally now doing 365 marathons in 365 days this year now.
God,
he's just started it now, yeah. So
I will look him up and I'll give him a follow on social.
He's aiming to raise £1 million for cancer research. If you go on my Instagram page, he's on there and stuff. But
okay, cool.
Yeah, he was a good bloke too. Like he was telling me, that he lives up the Lake District up north, and.
Oh, I bet is he running them all up and down hills as well, just to kind of make a point?
Yeah, like he's telling me like his marathon times and stuff. He goes, yeah, I'm just taking my time, you're doing it like 3.5 hours or something like that. Or 3.5.
Mine weren't anywhere near that. I was, I think we averaged about just over 5 hours for ours, but I think ours, it was more for us, everybody does challenges for different reasons. For us, it was, the whole point of ours was to kind of get people involved. So, the reason why we had the 13,500 people involved was because we ran at the pace of the slowest runner.
Yeah.
We had over 1,600 people run further than they'd ever run before. And I think it was, 500 of those ran their first marathon.
Wow.
So, and I think that, we wanted to bottle, dare I say, what my experience of running and that building of confidence and community was. And we wanted to replicate that into what the project was about. So, and I think, we raised 330,000, which was amazing. And that went to 2 incredible charities, and they've done some amazing work with that money. So we're very proud.
Yeah, it was awesome stuff. And as for we're on about running now, as for cycling then, have you been a cycler before?
No, I have been involved in doing some cycling challenges. Like I did London to Paris, and I attempted to do the kind of Land's End to John O'Groats and got, I think, as far as Carlisle, and realised that I'd probably not packed the right kit.
Oh no!
I was suffering slightly from hypothermia, so that was a nice learning curve. But life is all about that. And obviously, you have some people that then go, "Oh, you've failed," and you're always going to have people like that in your life, But I don't surround myself with those types of people, and I don't give them any kind of dues or credit in my life, to be honest with you. So, but yeah, for me, the cycling has been something that I've had to learn. Luckily, I am surrounded by an incredible cycling club here in Portishead Cycling Club, who have, been literally ready to give me any bit of advice that I want. And they've been super helpful, from equipment to riding technique to, just being there if I want to ride out. But at the moment, most of my time is spent on the turbo trainer with ERG mode on, working to the plans that my coach, Brian, is giving me, feeding me down through Training Peaks. So,
what ERG? What's that mean?
So basically, on my turbo trainer, so I have a Wahoo turbo trainer, and the ERG is basically, I don't know what it stands for, but it mimics going up and down the hills. So, or if, for instance, my coach says, right, I would like you to do a 2-hour ride, but I would like you to do it at 70% of your functional threshold. He'll then set a watt target, and then the tracker on my bike will then fix that to that. So I have no way of reducing that or increasing it. Gotcha. So it's brutal. Wow, good, that, because I can't delete it and I can't do anything about it. So it's kind of always controlled by him. But yeah, no, it's great. I do a lot of stuff on Zwift, and I'm definitely getting stronger at the bike side of things. But the weekend sessions at the moment are pretty full on. I think the last weekend we were doing a half marathon on a Saturday, followed by 4 hours on the bike, and then the same on the Sunday. This week that ups to 19 miles, followed by 5 hours on the bike. So you're looking around 10 and a half hours there. So you're looking at around nine and a bit hours there. Yeah. And it works its way up to a marathon, followed by 6, then 7 hours on the bike.
Wow.
And that's on both days. But if you think that's what I'm going to be doing in the US, you know, so my body needs to get used to it. But I still train during the week. You know, I still do pyramid sessions. I still do interval training like I did this morning. And on tired legs, that is hard. Yeah. And then to get up and have to go and do a part-time job and work full-time for the charity and the thing, I'm just like, yeah. So I think the USA Challenge would be easy after all of this.
No, you were saying, no, you've been training, you're doing the podcast with me, then after this, you're going to paint the ceiling in your, what is it, the bedroom? I'm like,
yeah,
stop.
Yeah, paint the ceiling. Yeah, but we've just moved house, so we've moved into our first home together. So yeah, we're just kind of decorating it, and I don't know if you can see, but you can see, but yeah, we've had the ceilings plastered, so we've got to paint them as well.
Paint them up, get a good shoulder burn.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And like, obviously, you know, just had a brain freeze. I was going to ask you now. It was in my head and it's gone. I'm bad. I hate when I do this. But anyway, we'll just roll with it. Yeah, but, you know, obviously that's what it was, man. Recovery. What do you, like, is there anything particularly you do for recovery? Obviously, it's quite strenuous on the body, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, recovery is an interesting thing because it's not, you know, when people think about recovery, they think about downtime. And that, you know, that is a big part of recovery. It's about ensuring that you have, you know, a good amount of downtime. But when you're talking about downtime, it's good downtime. It's not, you know, so I have recovery weeks. I do a 4-week training schedule where I'm on for 3 weeks, and then I have a week's worth of kind of recovery. And when we talk about recovery, I mean, you know, that's still 19 hours of training, but it's at a lower intensity, a lower stress threshold. So, you know, my body's still moving, it's still going, but it's not at the level that I'm, you know, normally at. So that's one form of recovery. The other form is trying to make sure I get enough sleep, which, you know, I've always been really bad at, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm quite a night person. And I'm quite a morning person as well. So, you know, I'm one of these that can survive on not much sleep, but that also leaves me quite susceptible to burnout. And especially with the quantity of stuff that I've kind of got going on in my life at the moment, I do kind of fall in and out of that. But I recognize that, and I know that, and I have coping mechanisms which I can kind of put in place to help me manage that. It's not about changing that, because that's who I am and that's how I operate. It's just finding ways in which I can protect myself from it when it does happen. But then there's things like food. We eat quite fresh food. You know, we don't really kind of buy prepackaged meals or anything like that. You know, we'll have a takeout, of course we will.
Yeah,
but I'm burning enough bloody calories. I can afford to eat a pizza and fish and chips every now and again. But, you know, we cook fresh every single night. So all the stuff I'm putting in my body's healthy. You know, I'm drinking enough water and electrolyte fluids as well to make sure that my body's in that. But for me, I have one recovery day each week. And that's a Wednesday. That's tomorrow. I have a massage each week, which I'm not going to be able to have when I'm in the US. So, you know, I do everything I can to kind of make sure my body is treated in the right way to ensure that A, I don't become injured, and B, I don't become burnt out. And that's built into my training program. And for anybody that wants to check it out, they can go to the 401challenge.co.uk, the actual website, click on the USA Challenge, and there's actually the full training program in there.
Oh, wow.
It's a calendar-based training program that tells you exactly what I'm doing and when I'm going to be doing it. And you can read about the different things that I do and all the different types of recovery on there. So.
Beautiful. I'll share that on my page as well. And also, like, to donate to you and stuff. Is that all on the website as well, or? So
it's not live yet. We're actually going to be opening that up at the beginning of April.
Nice.
But yeah, the target is £104,000. There'll be a number of different things that people can kind of get involved in, from different challenges that if they want to, or they can kind of do their own thing, or they can just do a simple donation. But yeah, keep an eye out on the 401 Challenge website, and also on the 401 Foundation website as well. They'll start seeing new things. And if people want to kind of sign up for our newsletters, you can do that on our website or by following us on social media.
Beautiful. And so your social media is at what was it at 401?
So
just
for the
at
401 challenge, it's at the 401 challenge, and that's across Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and even TikTok. I know, I'm nearly 40 and I'm on TikTok.
You're on TikTok? Oh God.
Yeah.
I can't bring myself to TikTok.
No, I've only just been introduced to it. I think we've got 7 followers.
Oh, nice.
Rocking and rolling on it. But the foundation, you can find us at the 401 Foundation on Facebook and on Instagram as well. So.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'll share all that on my page. So yeah, looking forward to see you in action. No doubt, I'll see you on the telly on BBC or ITV, something like that, isn't it? But yeah, thanks for coming on, Ben. I appreciate that. And yeah, good luck with everything. Good luck with the training. Stay injury free now. What are we now? February, March, April, May. Was it 5 months away? Is it?
I think 125 days as of today. Yeah, we've got a countdown clock going on the website.
25 days today. Do you feel like, like when the dates start now, do you feel nervous as well? Like obviously when it's coming up, or you were right?
I think we're so busy at the moment that the nerves are kind of, I suppose, on the back foot. I guarantee you, the closer it gets to the date, and once the flights are booked, which will happen in the next couple of weeks. We're working with an amazing company called Diversity Travel, who are helping us with all of that side of things, all our accommodation and flights and visas and stuff. And once all that's kind of sorted and booked, then really the only thing left to do is train. And the closer and closer and closer you get to the date, I've got a couple of big milestones coming up in the training, which once I kind of cross over, they're going to be great kind of mental barriers that I've knocked down. So when I've actually done a marathon and 108 miles on the bike, then I know that I can do it. And then if I can replicate that, then that's going to help me with my confidence. But you're right, injury free is what the priority after that will be. And then it's just kind of keeping the nerves down. But I think overall, I'm just excited. And because it was supposed to happen a year and a half ago, I'm just eager to get out there and do it.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Reading up, like you say, it's been was it been cancelled twice or once?
Postponed, yeah. And obviously it's changed, but the as I keep harping back to, the whole point of this, going out and doing it is an amazing thing, and I've got confidence that I will be able to achieve it. But it's what it's going to allow us to do. It's what it's going to be able to enable us to do, and that is the wellness app. And I can't stress it enough. If people want to find out more about it, they can go to our website, the401foundation.co.uk. There'll be more information over the next kind of couple of months, and on our socials about it all. But this app will change the lives of millions of people around the country. And that's the focus here. Making sure that people can manage, maintain, and treat their own mental well-being.
I think I got no doubt in my mind you're going to smash that as well, like 104,000. So we spread the word on it all.
I appreciate it, and appreciate all your listeners for listening to me harp on for just over half an hour. So
the listeners in the valleys, as I was telling you before, obviously. You say you running. Where you say you run? You're running through Merthyr Tydfil, Pontypridd.
Yeah, Pontypridd. Yeah.
Did you go up to the beacons? Did you go up to the Brecon beacons?
No. So we kind of we when we did Wales, we initially kind of came in along the south, and this was kind of the November of the challenge. So at the very beginning, we kind of went as far across as Swansea.
Oh yeah.
And then we kind of went all the way. We kind of came all the way back, and this was right during the time where there were really strong winds. So I was on the M4 on 2 wheels on the camper van, and they weren't the back two. So I was kind of around Port Talbot, that area. I was kind of like bricking it a bit. But when we kind of came back into Wales at the very end, it was kind of towards the end of the challenge. We came in across the top. So we came in from kind of Ellesmere Port, and then all the way across to Llandudno, and then down past Aberystwyth and Snowdonia, and then down to kind of Milford Haven and
bloody hell, you did it all.
And then we kind of came all the way kind of back through kind of Tenby, and then all the way along kind of Swansea Neath, and then that's when we kind of ran in Port Talbot, and then up into kind of Merthyr.
That's what I'm like. I'm literally like. I'm up in the valley, so about 20 minutes from Swansea, 20 minutes from Leith, that's my neck of the woods. So
it's beautiful countryside, honestly. Bloody hilly. It's not flat, is it?
Oh no.
No.
It's funny. Like every time I say go on holidays, I'll always fly from like Bristol or Heathrow or wherever. And like, it'll be always lovely in England, but as soon as I cross the bridge, guarantee it'll start to rain. And like, there's no
but that's why Wales is green.
True.
Because you get a nice bit of water, so you're all right.
Beautiful, Ben. Thank you for coming on. Also, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel also, the CD Sport Podcast. So spread the word on that one. Spread the love. Thank you, Ben.
Thanks, Gary.
Ben Smith, everybody. You.